Hey guys, today we'll be covering a 2020 mini drama series called Unorthodox. This series centers around 19-year-old Etsy Shapiro, living in an ultra-Orthodox community in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The community is characterized by their strict obedience to Jewish laws and traditions, in opposition to modern practices. Etsy has been taught to live life in accordance with the rules of her society and has never had much freedom. She has been married to Junkie Shapiro for the past year. At the beginning of the series, Etsy gathers an envelope full of money, along with a picture of her grandmother, a phone, and some other necessities. She secretly packs them all in a vest and gets ready to leave. However, on reaching the entrance door, she is told that the Eruv is broken. In Judaism, the Eruv is an enclosure made to allow people to carry personal things outside, which are normally prohibited. Because of its absence, Etsy cannot carry the bag outside. Knowing that she cannot wait for the Eruv to be fixed, she hides the envelope of money and her grandmother's picture in the waistband of her skirt. Following that, she leaves the building to hopefully never return. On her way, she bumps into a woman who asks her where she is going. Etsy nervously claims that her in-laws are waiting for her and walks away. For lunch, her husband Yonki comes to his parents' home and finds out that his wife never arrived. He claims that she was sick when he left for the office in the morning. His mother Miriam is a spiteful woman who despises Etsy. Even now she comments about her always being a problem. Somewhere else, Etsy arrives at her piano teacher Nina's house, who is helping her to escape to Berlin. Nina hands her the passport and a present. Etsy puts both of those inside her waistband and finally gets inside a car on her way to the airport. Meanwhile, Yonki returns home to see his wife missing. He also finds the stuff she was about to pack on her bed. He suspects something is wrong but decides to wait until the next day to see if she returns home. The next morning, Yonki wakes up and to his surprise, Etsy is still missing. He is now sure that she has left him and the community. He immediately goes to his parents and tells them about what happened. His mother starts cursing Etsy, claiming that she should never have let a girl like that marry her son. She is especially mad because Etsy's mother Lee also ran away from home long ago. To decide what they should do next, Yonki's father goes to the religious leader, Rabbi. In the meantime, Etsy lands at the Berlin airport, happy that she is finally free. Following that, she takes a taxi to her mother's address. After escaping from the community almost 16 years ago, Lee has been living in Berlin. Etsy is nervous because she hadn't told Lee that she would be coming. Moreover, she hates Lee for abandoning her family long ago. Still, she gathers enough courage to ring the doorbell and waits for the response, which never comes. Distressed, she decides to wait outside the building for when Lee returns. A flashback takes us to the time when Etsy was 18. She used to live with her grandparents because her drunkard father was never really present in the house. Her grandmother was the only person she trusted, so when the old woman urged her to get married at the age of 18, Etsy believed that was the right thing to do. Her Aunt Malka started looking around for a potential husband and found Yonki, who has a good family background. When Etsy was first told about him, she asked her aunt what Yonki is like. She had so little control over her life that wanting to know what her future husband was like was considered scandalous. Her grandmother asked her to be happy because she would now have a different life. Back in the present, Etsy is still waiting for Lee outside her apartment building. She opens the envelope given by Nina and finds a little compass inside. Etsy smiles at the present, knowing that it symbolizes her finding her own way. Suddenly, she notices Lee on the other side of the road, kissing a woman. Unknown to the concept of homosexuality, Etsy panics and runs away before the couple can see her. Meanwhile, in Williamsburg, a meeting takes place between Yonki's family and their community head rabbi. Yonki tells everyone that his wife was unhappy in the marriage and is genuinely worried about her well-being. Rabbi appoints Yonki's short-tempered cousin Moish to help them find her. They want to get her back home at any cost. When Etsy was about to get married, she was told to present herself to her future mother and sister-in-law. They wanted to assert their dominance in Yonki's life and check if she is beautiful enough to be his wife. So, her aunt took her to a grocery store where Etsy pretended to be shopping, while Miriam watched her from afar. In the present, Etsy is at a coffee shop trying to order a drink. She notices a couple making out in the corner and cannot help but stare. Throughout her life, she has never had access to internet, books, or television. She only knows what she was taught by her family, which includes very little about the human body and sex. While ordering coffee, she notices a man named Robert struggling to carry his. She offers to help and walks to the nearby musical institution with him. There, she meets Robert's work friends, all of whom are musicians. Etsy's biggest wish in life is to someday watch a live musical performance. She is a gifted pianist but couldn't flourish her talent because her religion didn't allow it. Now, when she has all the time in the world, she decides to watch Robert and his friends play. The performance touches her soul and she cannot help but tear up. The music makes her remember the day Junkie and his family came to see her for the first time. When she locked eyes with them, she couldn't look away. Junkie, on the other hand, was shy. He couldn't hold eye contact. On being given privacy to chat, the two talked about music and seemed to instantly like each other. One day, Etsy's father took her to Nina's house to ask her for rent. That is when the two first met. Nina was low on money, so she offered to give Etsy piano lessons for free in the hopes that her father would cut her some slack. She was also the first person who recognized Etsy's talent. In the present, when the musical performance ends, Etsy approaches the group and compliments them. They were planning to go to a lake and take a swim and ask Etsy to join them. On their way, the group introduces themselves to her. All of them turn out to be from different countries and ethnicities. One of the girls named Yael is from Israel and is also Jewish, but she is not Orthodox like Etsy. Etsy is surprised to see a fellow Jew so different from her. When they reach the lake, the girls take their clothes off to take a swim in their bikinis. It is all new to Etsy, so she decides to stay out of the water. A friendly girl from the group named Daisha offers to keep an eye on her belongings and urges her to take a swim as well. Etsy obliges, but only takes off her stockings. As soon as she steps into the water, she is relaxed. Moments later, she reveals that she is wearing a wig and takes it off to show her naturally short hair. It turns out that in their religion, only husbands can see their wives' hair after marriage. Hence, they cut it short and wear wigs instead. When it gets dark, the group separates to return to their homes. With nowhere to go, Etsy follows Deja and ends up back at the auditorium where the group was practicing earlier. She secretly breaks into the auditorium, deciding to spend the night hiding under a table. Meanwhile, Moish and Junkie go to Nina's house to inquire about Etsy's whereabouts. Junkie wants to chat peacefully, but Moish is aggressive. He threatens Nina and finds out that Etsy has flown to Berlin. They return home and brainstorm what they should do next. After that, they check Etsy's phone and find an unopened voicemail. To their surprise, the voicemail is from a gynecologist informing Etsy that she is in fact pregnant. The news is bittersweet for Junkie. They have been trying to have a baby since the first day of their marriage, but now that his wife is pregnant, she is not with him. They take the matter to the rabbi yet again. After finding out that Etsy is pregnant, they cannot let her take away the child from the community. The rabbi orders Moish and Junkie to go to Berlin and to do whatever they have to do to get her back. Since they know that Lee also lives there, they are sure Etsy must be with her. A flashback shows us the day before Etsy got married. Lee had come to meet her and wish her good luck in her life. However, Etsy didn't want to talk to her. Still, Lee gave her some documents that would help her move to Berlin if she ever wanted to. Even then, the mother knew how toxic a married household was in their religion. But Etsy, who was excited about starting a new life, didn't like the intrusion. She still kept the documents, and they came in handy recently when she decided to run away. Etsy was never taught about sex until right before her wedding day. An assigned teacher took a one-on-one session with her and told her how sexual intercourse works. Etsy was horrified at the thought, but she prepared herself mentally for the wedding night. The teacher emphasized that the only reason for sexual intercourse should be to give birth to a baby. Her in-laws will expect her to get pregnant as soon as possible. In the following scene, we see Etsy wake up under the table. The cleaning lady sees her and complains to the music teacher, Karim. He tells Etsy that she cannot stay there at night and asks her where her home is. Etsy apologizes and is about to leave, but Karim sympathizes with her and offers to buy her breakfast. Later, Etsy takes a bite of her sandwich and tells Karim that she used to play the piano. Suddenly, she realizes that the sandwich has ham inside it and panics because she has been taught that eating ham makes people sick. She runs outside and waits for something to happen, but to her pleasant surprise, she feels fine. After returning to the cafe, she apologizes and continues the conversation. When she mentions that learning music is her biggest dream, Karim asks her to apply for a scholarship program in their musical institution. Etsy likes the idea and decides to fill out a form immediately. She will have to audition in front of some of the top musical geniuses of the country to get into the program. At the same time, Moish and Junkie land in Berlin and check into a hotel. The receptionist gives Moish a parcel, which Junkie is suspicious about. He has never liked Moish because of his eccentric behavior. They go to their room and perform their daily prayers, while somewhere else, Etsy tries wearing pants for the first time. She buys several clothes to change into and a bag to hold them. Moish and Junkie also wear hats to hide their curls, which are considered extra by people outside their religion. When Moish isn't looking, Junkie opens the parcel from earlier and finds a gun inside. He is now even more nervous about working with Moish. Later, they go to Lee's home and ask her to bring Etsy outside. Lee is surprised because she didn't even know that her daughter ran away from home. When Moish forcefully tries to barge in, she slams the door in his face and threatens to call the police. Following that, we are shown a scene from Etsy's wedding day. It is a typical Jewish wedding. Initially, Etsy was nervous and kept reciting the prayers, but soon she started to enjoy herself and was thrilled about the beginning of her new life. In the present, Karim brings her to his class so she can watch the others perform. Etsy overhears the group from yesterday talking about her. Yael doesn't notice her and says that women in her religion are only baby machines. Etsy calls her out for her obliviousness, but is interrupted when Karim asks everyone to take their position. The orchestra starts to play, but Deja keeps on making mistakes throughout the piece. By the end of the class, she feels down that she spoiled the rhythm. Etsy senses this and tries to cheer her up. A grateful Deja invites her to the dorm for dinner with her friends. Another clip from Etsy's wedding shows us how she and Junkie were left alone in a room that day. Both of them were so nervous that they only touched each other's hands. Junkie also gifted her a pair of diamond earrings. Following that, they danced while the guests sang for them. After the wedding, Etsy's hair was shaved off. She cried, but accepted her fate as a woman born in the religion. In the present, Etsy goes to the dorm and meets Deja and the group. She helps him to cook while engaging in a cheerful conversation. However, the direction of the conversation changes when Yael intrusively questions her if she ran away from home. While the others ask Yael to stop, Etsy says it's fine and tells them that she did in fact come without telling anyone. After dinner, Yael suggests Etsy play the piano for them. That way she can practice for the audition and get constructive criticism. Reluctant at first, Etsy agrees to play on being urged. Everyone listens to her play a beautiful piece. However, it is clear to them that the judges won't take in a student whose skills are just average. While everyone else is uncomfortable telling her how they feel about the piece, Yael speaks her mind. She claims that the piece was beautiful, but it will never impress the judges. She even goes as far as to say that she and her group have been practicing instruments every day since they were kids, and although Etsy is gifted, she has to do a lot more work if she wants to reach the position that they are in. After the interaction, Etsy leaves without saying anything. Robert runs behind her to apologize, but she disappears into the night. Following that, she calls her grandmother because she misses her, but the old woman declines the phone call, leaving Etsy even more distressed. In the following scene, we are shown the night after Etsy's wedding, the night that she and her husband were supposed to be intimate with each other. But the action was so painful for Etsy that she asked him to stop immediately. Junkie didn't want to hurt her, so he did as he was told and assured her that things will get better. According to their tradition, women are only allowed to share a bed with their husbands for half of the month when they're ovulating. Hence, they decide to try every night for as long as they can. However, even after a week of trying, they cannot get intimate because Etsy stops him every time. Junkie has no boundaries with his mother. He tells her everything about his sex life, which further leads her to pressure Etsy into compromising because she wants the best for her son. After being told that her talent isn't special, Etsy doesn't want to take part in the audition. She goes to the audition office to withdraw her application, but the woman there asks her to have some respect for the musical geniuses who have taken time out of their day for her. Etsy doesn't want to go down without a fight. Moreover, she has a backup plan about what she is going to do at the audition, so she decides to go through with it. Somewhere else, Lee receives a letter from the audition office addressed to Etsy. She finds out about the date and the time of the audition and decides to go there to support her daughter. In the meantime, Moish and Junkie go to a graveyard to pray to the grave of an old rabbi. After looking for it for more than an hour, they find it in a jungle-like place and pray. In the next scene, Etsy goes to a gynecologist to get herself checked. When the doctor suggests different options to terminate the pregnancy, she claims that her community is rebuilding the 6 million Jews lost in the Holocaust. She thinks the child is a gift and refuses to get an abortion. Instead of looking for Etsy, Moish is taking the opportunity to visit clubs and meet his old friends. Junkie is annoyed because all he wants to do is get his wife back. He is uncomfortable going to clubs as it is against their religion. However, Moish forces him to come. One time, he even compels Junkie to go into a room with a prostitute. When the woman tries to touch him, Junkie retreats, claiming that he is only to be touched by his wife. Still, he takes advantage of the situation to learn more about how to pleasure a woman. The prostitute tells him everything that will make his wife enjoy intercourse as much as he does. The following day, Etsy reads a job vacancy notice to sing in a church choir. She goes to the said church and listens to the group singing beautifully. But then she realizes that she is trying to get herself into yet another religion and runs away. Having had enough of Moish and his laziness, Junkie goes to meet Lee on his own at her work. Initially, she refuses to talk to him, but when he begs her, she agrees to tell him if she finds out anything about Etsy. She also adds that the way he and his family treated Etsy was probably the reason why she left. Before leaving, Junkie writes his number on a piece of paper that Lee throws away right after he leaves. Her words make Junkie reflect on his past and his marital relationship. After only a few months of marriage, the pressure on Etsy to get pregnant was immense. However, she could hardly handle the pain that Yankee put her through whenever they tried. She started going to a teacher from their community to find out what she was doing wrong. The teacher diagnosed her with anxiety and gave her dilators that were supposed to help her. But even after that, Etsy struggled to get intimate with her husband. One night, the husband and wife got into a massive argument. Junkie thought something was wrong with Etsy because no other woman in the community complained about the pain. That night, she lashed out at him, claiming that his mother and sister are making it difficult for her to focus. In a fit of rage, she got in bed and invited him in, promising to endure any pain. For the first time, they have sexual intercourse, even though after it, Etsy is left crying in pain. In the present, Moish takes advantage of Lee's absence from her house and breaks into it. Initially, he looks for Etsy, who he thinks is hiding inside. He doesn't find her, but manages to get his hands on the papers from the audition office. He finds out Etsy is participating in a musical program and gets the address of the place she is staying at. Following that, he goes looking to the institution and spots her walking with Daisha. That evening, the group plans to go to the club. Etsy is nervous because the religion never allowed her to be in places like that. Still, she gets dressed up and joins the group. They drink, dance, and have a lot of fun, all while Moish watches Etsy from afar. He even takes pictures of her and Robert dancing together. By the end of the night, Etsy and Robert are in his room. She kisses him out of the blue, and the two make love. In the following scene, we see a flashback of a dinner party at Etsy's grandfather's house. She wasn't feeling well that day, but didn't know why. She left in the middle of dinner, disrespecting the hosts. At home, she took a pregnancy test and found out that she was finally pregnant. She waited for her husband to return to tell him the good news, but upon arriving, Junkie yelled at her for leaving him alone with her family and being disrespectful. He didn't give her a chance to talk about the pregnancy and asked for a divorce. Etsy was so heartbroken that she didn't bother to tell him about it. She soon found out that the divorce was also his mother's idea. That was when she decided she was going to run away from everyone and everything she has ever known. Back in Berlin, Etsy wakes up beside Robert and doesn't regret what happened the night before. After breakfast, he takes her to a pianist who is supposed to help her in her audition the next day. Meanwhile, Moish tells Junkie about his wife's shenanigans. Junkie is shocked to see a picture of his wife dancing with Robert. He immediately runs to Lee's home to look for his wife again. After making a scene, he breaks down crying and claims that it is all his fault. Lee makes him understand that chasing Etsy will only make her run further away. Somewhere else, Moish finds Etsy alone in the street and chases after her. He catches her and forcefully drives her to a park. After that, he uses the gun to threaten her to come back to Williamsburg. A scared Etsy can do nothing but ask him to put the gun away. Before leaving, he hands it to her, asking her to kill herself if she doesn't return home. After the encounter, Etsy rushes to her mother's home, terrified of what will happen next. As they talk, Etsy finds out that Lee didn't abandon her. In fact, her grandparents separated them after her parents got divorced. She stays the night at the house and wakes up fresh the next morning. Lee prepares her for the audition and sees her off, promising to visit her when the audition starts. Somewhere else, Junkie also gets ready to do the same. Some hours later, Etsy finally walks to the stage in front of the judges. She tells them that she's going to sing instead of play the piano. The last-minute change makes the judges skeptical about her talent, but they allow it anyway. The pianist from earlier plays for her as she performs a beautiful German song. Robert and the rest of the group are left stunned at her beautiful voice. Junkie also arrives in time to listen to her sing. After the first song, the judges ask her several questions about her life. Etsy tells them that a woman singing was considered immodest in her culture, hence she practiced in secret. The judges are touched by her story, but they ask her to sing yet another song just to be sure of her talent. Although nervous, Etsy sings yet another beautiful Yiddish song. This time, some of the audience gets teary while listening to it. After the audition, Etsy comes outside to see Junkie in front of her. They go for a walk talking about different things, other than her return. Junkie compliments her singing and laughs about how everyone can see her hair. In the end, they go to his hotel room where he kisses her for the first time. However, Etsy retreats and claims she cannot go back to him. Junkie apologizes, begs, and even cuts his curls as a last resort. Etsy tries to stop him, but still refuses to return home. In the last scene, she walks out of the room and goes to a nearby cafe while crying. As she calms herself, she sees her new friends walking towards her. She has finally settled into her new life.